It's an absolute honor to be here with you, General Buhari. General, now partisan politician. But let me ask this thing about partisan politics. You've contested 3 times in a row, 3 consecutive times to be president of Nigeria. You have lost. In fact, the last time you said if you didn't win, you would never contest again. You have changed your mind. Why are you contesting again?
Yes, all you said was quite true, and you forget one important thing, that I all ended up in the Supreme Court, which means each time I lost, I tried to follow the Electoral Act, which means it's constitutional, to go through the legal system to try to prove to the judiciary or to the courts that actually we have won the election.
Right. In doing this, you have become not a young man. You are 72 years old
Yes.
now. People say that may be a little too old, that perhaps you should be granddaddy and spend time with the grandchildren. What do you say to that? Are you too old? Why do you want to be president of Nigeria, and why at this age?
I'm not too old. Just like wine, the older you are, the more mature you are. I don't think people should should harass me about my age and discriminate against me. I don't like discrimination in any form. I will try because I believe I can deliver. I believe if Nigerians are given the chance to conduct free, fair and credible election, I think it will stabilize the country very, very much.
But will young people be part of your government?
Oh, so they have to be, because they are the biggest body of voters. Even for that, in my campaign, I will promise them choice positions, but they have to, it must be the competent ones among them.
Okay. Now, talking about young people, it seems like these days, technology, social media, and all of that is how to be young. They asked me to ask if you know when they are abusing you on Twitter, and do you have an iPad?
I have. The interesting thing is mostly the initiative of young people, not old people, that are very good at having Twitter and going into the internet, that form themselves, and they answer all the rude comments that are on me.
Also, you see the questions, the rude comments?
Yes. They volunteer, some of them download it and bring it to me, or come and show me. Some of them, there are people who feel very strongly, a lot of them. I don't know how many, that form small clubs also, go out in the Twitter, the internet, and fight people and answer them effectively. When they accuse me of being old.
Yes.
And
Sir, General, they are called Voltrons. They are your Voltrons.
Yeah, exactly.
They appoint themselves, you don't know them, but
yes,
because they trust you, they will go after you.
There are so many of them, I don't know how many groups all over the country.
This one is very important to Nigerians. Who will our First Lady be if you were president, and how will she conduct herself?
I wonder why I didn't ask that one. Why didn't I have a First Lady when I was in the military, head of state? I think my wife will be too busy looking after me and my grandchildren to have a role of fighting governors and ministers. So
you have the one wife, or do you have 2 wives or 3 wives? How many wives do you have?
I can have as many as 4, but I think I better remain with 1.
That's unusual, actually. I mean, you're a Muslim man. In Nigeria, whether men were Muslim, Christians, or animals, they tend to acquire wives. It's a status symbol.
Time changed. People have to, it used to be fashionable to have so many wives. Go and ask the elite now. The system has virtually collapsed in terms of education, that even directors in some ministry, they cannot educate 4 children. I am number 23rd on my father's side and 13 on my mother's side.
How many children do you have?
I had 10, 2 died.
I'm sorry to hear
One
that.
male, one female died. So I had 8 children.
Which is your favorite child?
I wouldn't tell you so that so that the rest wouldn't be jealous.
Recently, you made a statement that has generated a lot of interest. You said that you were not opposed to a Muslim ticket. But does it matter whether it's Muslim, Christian, Christian animist, no religion? Does it matter?
It matters. I discussed this issue in one of the contests I had with people from the South generally, college people, business people, a few from the church, politicians. And I could recall vividly one of them warned me about perceptions, that perceptions are a reality. So if there are 2 main religions in Nigeria anyway, anybody in the world can tell you that, Christianity and Islam. If any of them, of the religion, mobilize that a certain party is marginalizing them, I think they may put them at a disadvantage.
But generally, it can be argued that you have been, one way or the other, responsible for very strategic times and places and institutions, including the PTF, the NNPC, 2 states, in fact, also as a head of state, that you've had the opportunity. What is the difference with running as a democratically elected president? What difference would it make?
Two differences I found out. Firstly, when I went out of detention, December 1988, and went home, I thought, honestly, people had finished with me, having reached the highest position in the land and then ended up in detention for more than 3 years. I thought people would leave me alone, so to speak. But people were approaching me, not to give them money, because they know my assets.
You declared it over and over?
At least 3 times. All of us, when I said us, those that from the military at least, that became heads of state, governors, ministers, have to declare their assets when they got in and then when they went out. So all this accusation of people making money, the country is not serious about it. If they want to find out who made money in office, they made the declaration were made. It's a constitutional thing. And then the second and most important one, what happened to the Soviet Union in 1991, as you will know. An empire in the 20th century collapsed.
Absolutely.
Without a shot being fired, and everybody went home. That was when I really believed that multi-party democratic system is the best form of governance. With the big caveat, elections must be free and fair.
So that's what you want to achieve?
That's what I want to achieve.
Through a free and fair election to become the president of Nigeria? So you're saying that Nigerians, basically when it comes to the crux, are interested in who will fix Nigeria, regardless of religion?
Exactly, that's the evidence I have.
But then why do people think of you as a person who is an Islamic fundamentalist? In fact, they go as far as to say that your plan is to Islamize Nigeria and introduce Sharia law all over the country. I know you've had this question over and over again, but what is the state? Why do people think so about you? What do you think?
I think it's a political mischief. But constitutionally, you can follow any religion or refuse to be any religion in Nigeria.
But unfortunately, religion muddies the water in Nigeria. Is it possible at all to Islamize Nigeria?
It's not possible to Islamize Nigeria, absolutely, or to Christianize it, or to paganize it, or whatever term you want to coin. It's not possible. I think that's why those who sit down and craft the constitution were right. Let anybody or everybody in Nigeria practice their religion. But the fundamental responsibility of governance is to protect the life and property of all Nigerians.
You seem a bit misunderstood about it, because I read some interesting things about you, even that at the time, was it in Katsina, where you allowed Christians to have work-free Sundays, but then you didn't allow Muslims Friday because you said it wasn't even in the Quran. You know, so there are all this, I don't know if this is true, I read about it. You know, and then of course, you had the chance as a military head of state, didn't you, if you wanted to do that, but you didn't. Why does this keep recurring?
Well, I think it's a political mischief, because firstly, those who are accusing me of that should reflect on the dispensation, the multi-party democracy system, and the constitution, as I keep on referring to. I cannot aspire to this office now, under this constitution, and then even attempt, even remotely, to antagonize any religion. It's just not possible.
Do you even desire it in your heart?
I can't desire it, because there is part of the Quran that said no compulsion in religion, like Rafidin, no compulsion in religion. So all those people, and I said it when this Boko Haram started this nonsense, I say you can't go to kill school children in their sleep. You can't go blow people up in church. You can't go and blow people in mosque, in marketplace, in motor park, and say Allahu Akbar. You either don't know what you are saying or you don't believe it. None of the religions advocate hurting the innocent in any form.
General, what is Boko Haram?
Well, I think it's a misnomer. The Prophet of Islam said you can go up to China and look for knowledge. And if you look at the world map, Saudi Arabia or Mecca, China is about the farthest distance to other parts of the world. So the Prophet of Islam said, go up to China if you have to look for knowledge. Now, in any case, as I said, when they kill people, they say Allahu Akbar, it's got nothing to do with religion. It has got absolutely nothing to do with religion.
Nobody doubts your anti-corruption stance. I think that the fear is that in wanting to stamp out corruption, perhaps you are open to rather difficult tactics. That even in the democratic dispensation, people who may have made their money legitimately are worried that then there will be a problem for them. How do you address all of this?
I don't think those who live honest lives, they have anything to fear. But of course there are risks. And I told you what we did as a military administration and what eventually found its way into the constitution, that those that occupy certain office must declare their assets when they accepted those appointments, when they become governors, presidents, ministers, and probably commissioners at state level. And then when they leave, again, they have to declare their assets.
An interesting place again, coming into the next election, that people are concerned about corruption, people want a change. However, how will that change happen? How will you tackle corruption, for example, if you were president of Nigeria?
Well, I told you, and I keep on repeating myself, personally, all those that advance corruption or did the worst in corruption are those that held public offices. And a lot of them are accused of putting the treasury into their pockets. And they are supposed to have declared their assets, and the states must make sure they do declare their assets. And when they leave, they declare their assets. Now, we reach a stage in Nigeria now. If you said you are going to investigate virtually everybody that held that office, and a head of department, a chairman of tenders board, and so on, perhaps the country will ground to a halt. Make an exception that cases that are with the judiciary you will not touch, because you can touch anything except the judiciary, whether military or civil. For those that have done so much damage to the treasury at various levels, we have to depend on cases that are before the courts and leave those cases behind and move forward. Because, as I said, if we try to investigate anything, if everybody were informed the government, then I think the whole country will collapse.
Okay, so very importantly, you're saying now that this is not really about hounding people, but about finding ways forward.
All we have to do is stop it. We say from this day on, if you steal, you know where you will end up. But whatever you did behind, if it is not before the judiciary, you are lucky.
That's why whipping people on the street. This is abuse of human rights.
Well, just whipping on the street. Why?
Yes, war against indiscipline.
Why? Yeah?
Why?
Well, if I may digress a bit, I think after our first Supreme Military Council meeting, I could vividly remember, I called General Idabo into the office. I said my small experiences in the military and then political appointments as governor and minister, our problem is indiscipline. So how about getting a detailed study on war against indiscipline? And I asked him that the Ministry of Information is filled up with sociologists, with PhDs, with masters, and we are being underused. Get a committee to study and bring a sort of shadow of discipline in Nigerian society. And I don't want something that will just peter out in 3 months. No, I want something that will last stage by stage and so on. And that's how we came about it. It was deliberate.
So
discipline is our biggest problem then.
In Nigeria.
I wonder if it is not bigger now.
So I want to ask quickly one vexatious question. And that is the thing about APC, your party. It's a collection of strange bedfellows. And that these bedfellows don't match. What would you say to that?
They are wrong. It has matched. APC is a reality. Some political commentators or feature article writers that came out and said,